Okay, so for our dirt activity this week, I'm just going to review the bits that we went through on last week on 2-point perspective. I'm going to start with this first task here. So obviously 2-point perspective, doing the 3 cubes, top angle, middle and bottom. So we're going to start off with obviously just drawing our horizon line anywhere in the middle. That's perfectly fine. A vanishing point there and a vanishing point there. And quite simply, we're just going to draw the edge of our 3 boxes, just like in the little PowerPoint tutorial last time. So I'm just going to draw a line there, one cutting through the horizon line and one down here. Now I'm going to start with the one at the top. I'm going to draw from that point there at the bottom a very faint line down to my first vanishing point, and from the top down to my vanishing point again, just like that. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Line from my vanishing point, bottom there, and the same. Okay. Now, what I've got here is the edge of my cube that is closest to my view and the 2 sides that are going away. Now, as we've done each 3D perspective, we've made it a little bit more realistic every single time. Now, the first time when we were just doing 45-degree angles up, that was just to a style of drawing where we could see a top, side and front view. But as I explained back in that video, it's not entirely realistic to see the front view of a plane surface and then elevations going off. That's why when we started the isometric drawing, it went off at 30-degree angles from both directions. Now that was a little bit more realistic. The one fault with that is as objects get further away, they appear to get smaller. So what we have here is the even more realistic perspective, which is obviously 2-point perspective. So we've got our edge here, and as the lines go away at different angles, they're starting to get smaller. Now I'm going to end my block about there and there, let's say, for example. So that's the 2 edges of my block here. Now, as you can see, because I'm above the horizon line, I can see the underside of my cube. So from that edge there, I'm going to go to the opposite horizon line, and from this edge here down to the opposite one. Now again, this was in the tutorial PowerPoint that I gave you all last week, but just to show you physically it being drawn. Now you can see there's a lot of lines here. We can rub some of these out later. I'm just going to go over them a little bit darker. Again, I'm doing this a little bit rushed just to show you as an example. Please do take a little bit more care with your own ones. Just a quick little tutorial to show you how it should look. Now that should be a little bit more obvious here now. What part of that is the cube? Let me just check the video there. Yeah, so you can see the cube there. We can see the left-hand side, the right-hand side, and the underside because it is above the horizon line. We're looking up at the cube. Now I'm going to do the one from the bottom. It's almost the exact same steps. In fact, it is the exact same steps as that one, but there's going to be a slight variation. You'll see in a minute. Now you'll notice the angles are a little bit different from that one. I think I've drawn this line a lot lower down, so we're going to see it from a slightly different angle. That's not going to be too much of a problem. It's a little bit closer to this one, so that edge is a little bit tighter. That's fine. Line straight up on both sides, just like that. From the top here to the opposite vanishing point, from that side to the opposite vanishing point. Now if I go back over these lines again, just like I did before, a little bit darker, you can see we have our next cube, like so. And this time we can see the left-hand side, the right-hand side, and the top. Because this is below our horizon line, we're looking above it, down onto the cube. So they're the exact same steps on both of them. And in fact, if I turn my page upside down, you can almost say, now I can see left hand, right hand, and the top of the cube, and the same from that point. If I flip it the other way around on my perspective lines, it's almost doing the exact same thing. So it's the same step. Just the thing to be aware that when something is above the horizon line, we're looking underneath it. And when it's below our horizon line, we're looking on top of it. Now this is where it comes to a little bit strange when an object is going through our horizon line, because I can see directly on the side of my cube. However, I cannot see the top or the bottom. In fact, if I put those 2 sides on there, like so, that's it. That's all I can see on the cube. I can't see underneath it because it's cutting through my horizon line. I can't see above it for the same reasons. This is literally a side-on view of a cube And as you can see, as those edges start to go further away, they're going further into distance, so it's a little bit smaller than it is on that edge. And that's the 3 cubes. This was the first little task. If anyone struggled with this, please obviously watch the video, go back over the PowerPoints and have a check on this. The final task here to do was to do something like pick a direction, any direction. There's no wrong or right to this. I'm going to say from that direction there is where my light source is coming from. And then I can start to shade my cubes according to where the light's coming from. So on this one here, I can see from this angle here, that one is going to be on the underside, that would be the darkest. This would be the lightest because it's being hit directly by my light. And that one I'd do as a medium shade. And I'll go on and do the same as the other ones. That's the first step. If anyone struggled with this one, have a go again, try it again, upload your improved images to the Google Drive.